I looked in the rearview mirror, and the seat behind me wasn't empty anymore. And I want to be clear, I had not picked anyone up. The app showed no active ride, no ping, no booking, no passenger. I was driving back through an empty stretch of road at 1:15 in the morning, completely alone. Or I thought I was. My name is Tariq. I'm 37. I drove for a rideshare platform, one of the big ones, doesn't matter which, for about 2.5 years. Nights mostly, sometimes weekends. I had a day job in warehouse inventory that paid the bills but not much else, so the rideshare driving was the gap filler. Extra income, flexible hours, I could log off whenever I wanted. I drove a dark clay saloon. Four-door, clean interior, that little phone mount on the dash that all rideshare drivers have. I kept it tidy, air freshener, phone charging cable in the back for passengers, water bottles in the door pocket. I took the job seriously, even though it was just supplemental income. You get better ratings that way. Better ratings mean better rides. I'd been doing it long enough that the night stopped feeling strange. Late pickups, drunk passengers, long silent motorway stretches at 2 in the morning. All of it just became normal. Background noise to the job. That changes after something like this. It was a Friday in September. I'd been out since about 8 in the evening, decent run of rides, airport pickup, a couple of restaurant drop-offs, a group of 4 who were louder than I'd have liked but tipped well. By midnight, the bookings were slowing down, which was fine. I was thinking about calling it by 1, maybe half past. I dropped my last confirmed passenger, a woman going home from a late shift, at her address just before 1 a.m. She thanked me, got out, and I sat in her road for a moment, updating my log on the app. Then I pulled out and started heading back toward the city center, where rides were more likely. The road I was on was a long residential stretch. Street lit but quiet, no traffic at that hour, no pedestrians. The kind of road that feels longer at night than it does in the daytime. I was maybe 5 minutes into the drive back when I did my standard mirror check. I do it constantly when I'm driving. Habit from years of having passengers. You check your mirrors, you check the back seat. It becomes automatic. The rear seat was not empty. I want to describe exactly what I saw because the details matter. It wasn't a clear figure. It wasn't someone sitting upright looking back at me. It was more like weight, presence. The way a seat looks when someone is sitting in it versus when it's unoccupied. A slight depression in the center of the back seat. A shape that wasn't quite resolving into anything clear but was absolutely, certainly not the same as an empty seat. I looked away, looked back. The seat looked empty. I kept driving. Told myself my eyes were tired. Told myself it was shadows from the passing streetlights doing something to the upholstery. Told myself I'd been staring at roads for 5 hours, and perception does strange things when you're fatigued. Reasonable explanations. I cycled through all of them in about 45 seconds. Then I felt the weight shift. Not dramatically, not the way you'd feel it if a person lunged forward or moved suddenly. Subtle. The way you feel when a passenger adjusts in their seat. A slight redistribution through the chassis. The car responding to mass moving in the back. I felt it clearly. I have driven that car for 2.5 years. I know exactly how it feels with weight in the back and how it feels without. There was weight in the back. I checked the mirror again. Empty seat. I pulled over. Not a planned stop. I just pulled to the curb. Hazard lights on. Stopped the car. I needed to be stationary for this. I turned around physically. Looked directly at the back seat. Empty. Both rear seats, the middle section, nothing. The charging cable coiled on the seat where it always sat. A water bottle in the left top pocket. Nothing else. I sat turned around for a long moment, looking. Nothing looked back. I faced forward again. Sat there with the hazards going, the orange light pulsing across the dashboard. Thought about what I'd felt, what I'd seen, or thought I'd seen in the mirror. After about 2 minutes, I turned the hazards off and pulled back onto the road. I told myself, done for the night. Go home. You're too tired. Your eyes are doing things they shouldn't be doing. Go home, sleep, come back fresh tomorrow if you want another run. Reasonable, sensible. I did not go home. I don't know why. Some version of the same stubbornness, the part that needs to look at the thing rather than leave it alone. I kept driving toward the city center. About 3 minutes later, back on a main road now, more street lights, a little more traffic, I felt it again. The weight, same location, center rear, a presence settling into the seat the way a person settles after getting comfortable. Not a lurch or a shift, a settling. This time I didn't look in the mirror. I don't know why I made that choice. Something told me not to. The same instinct that makes you not want to look at a dark corner of a room, even though you know, logically, rationally, that there's nothing there. Sometimes the body decides before the brain does. I drove for another 2 minutes without checking the mirror. Hands on the wheel, eyes on the road, trying to decide what I was actually dealing with. Then the app pinged, a ride request, which was not unusual, but the pickup location, when I looked at the dash mount, was behind me. about a kilometer back. On the residential stretch I'd already driven through. The name on the booking, no name. Just a placeholder, the kind you get when someone books through a third party link or a corporate account before the passenger details load. Blank name field. I sat with my finger over the accept button for about 5 seconds. I declined it. Something about the location, directly on the road I'd just been on when I'd felt the weight, made declining feel like the only reasonable response. I declined, set my status to offline, and focused on getting to somewhere more populated. But that wasn't the worst part. I was on the main road now, decent traffic, approaching the city center. Feeling slightly better for the lights and other cars, I did a mirror check, deliberate this time, prepared for whatever, and the back seat was empty. Stayed empty for the next 5 minutes. I almost relaxed. Then I heard it, breathing, not loud, not ragged or strange, just the sound of someone breathing, slow and even. The way a person breathes when they're sitting quietly and not trying to hide that they're there. Coming from directly behind my left shoulder, I did not pull over this time. I don't know if that was brave or just fear making my body freeze. I kept driving, and I said out loud to the car, to whatever was or wasn't in it, I said, "Who's there?" Not a question, just words, no answer. The breathing continued for what I estimate was about 15 seconds. Then it stopped. I drove straight to a petrol station. Busy one, forecourt lit up like a stadium, other cars, a cashier visible through the window. I pulled in, got out of the car, left every door open, walked to the other side of the forecourt, and stood there for a moment just breathing. Then I went back and checked the car properly. Every seat, the footwells, the boot, I popped it and looked inside. Checked under both front seats. Checked the back seat cushions, ran my hand along the upholstery. Nothing, empty, clean. The cashier in the forecourt had watched me do all of this through the window. When I went in to buy a coffee I clearly didn't need, she asked if everything was alright. I said yes, fine, long night. She looked at me for a moment in the way people look when they don't quite believe you but aren't going to push it. I sat in the forecourt for 20 minutes drinking the coffee, replaying it. The visual in the mirror, the weight, the breathing. My brain kept trying to resolve it into something manageable. A trick of shadow and tired eyes. A mechanical sound from the car mistaken for breathing. The heating system maybe, or something in the vents. The weight redistribution could have been a load shift. I had a bag of tools in the boot from earlier in the week. Maybe they'd moved. Possible. All of it possible. The breathing was harder to explain away. I know the sounds my car makes. I've driven it for years across every kind of road and weather. That was not a mechanical sound. I logged back onto the app when I left the forecourt. Thought if I had a passenger, a real, visible booked passenger, it would reset the night. Put something normal back into it. Got a booking within 4 minutes. Woman going to the airport, early morning flight. She was waiting outside her house with a suitcase. Got in the back left seat, said good morning, put her headphones in. Normal, completely normal. I watched her in the mirror the whole drive, not creepily, just verifying. Just needing to see that the seat had a person in it, and the person was clearly, visibly, physically there. She was. The weight felt right. Everything felt right. I dropped her at departure, said goodnight, watched her wheel her case through the sliding doors. Drove home, parked, sat in the driveway for a few minutes before going inside. The car was empty, obviously, just me and the interior light and the smell of the air freshener. I looked in the rearview mirror one more time before I got out. Center rear seat, empty. I got out, went inside, didn't drive again for 11 days. My brother-in-law is a mechanic. I had him go over the car the following week, full check, interior and mechanical. He found nothing unusual. No structural issues, no sounds from the vents or the chassis that could explain what I'd heard. He looked at me when he was done and said the car was completely fine. I asked him, casually, trying to sound like I was joking, if he'd felt anything unusual while he was working in it, while he'd been inside. He gave me a look, then said, "Like what?" "I don't know," I said. He been buzz. Then it's a car, mate. I know. It's a car. I know that. I went back to driving about 2 weeks after that. Different hours. I stopped taking the late runs, started finishing by 11 at the latest. Not because I made a decision to, it just happened. My hand would hover over the app when midnight approached and I'd log off without quite deciding to. The car felt fine. Passengers, pickups, drop-offs, normal for several weeks. Then one evening, not late, maybe 10:30, I was between rides on a quiet road and I did a mirror check. The center rear seat looked different, not dramatically, not the same as that first night. Just the upholstery was sitting slightly differently than it had been. The way fabric sits when pressure has just been removed from it. The way a seat looks 10 seconds after someone stands up. I pulled over, got out, looked at the back seat from the outside. Nothing there. I got back in, looked in the mirror. It looked normal. I logged off the app, drove home. I don't drive at night anymore. Full stop. I've adjusted the ride share hours to daytime only. School runs, airport morning departures, lunch hour trips, everything in daylight. My rating drops slightly because I'm less available for the high demand late slots. I don't care about the rating anymore. What I think about, and I've tried to stop thinking about it, haven't managed, is the booking request. The one that came in when I was already unnerved. Pickup location on the road behind me, no name on the account. I didn't accept it. I went offline. But I've thought about what would have happened if I had. If I turned around, driven back to that residential street, stopped at the pickup point, waited, whether anyone would have got in or whether someone already had. I sold the car 8 months later. Bought a different one, different color, different model, fresh start. The guy who bought it seemed happy enough, normal transaction. He drove it away, and I stood on the pavement and watched it go and told myself that whatever was or wasn't in that car, it was gone now. I still check the mirror constantly when I drive. Can't stop. 2.5 years of habit doesn't disappear. But now when I check, I hold my breath for just a second before I look, just in case the seat isn't empty.